isn't it correct that for hypothermia in the presence of Wisniewski's ulcers or spots, that you have to have a predominance of the stomach covered by the spots for them to be Wisniewski ulcers?
I think there's different levels and different grades.
In hypothermia, particularly death from hypothermia, wouldn't you expect to see a predominance of those ulcers, meaning they take up most of the stomach lining? Isn't that what you would expect to see?
Not always. I have seen that. I have also seen cases with much fewer spots, as you refer to them.
But isn't the majority of the cases that you have seen where someone has actually died from hypothermia that the ulcers predominate, take up greater than 50% of the stomach?
Yes.
And what percentage of the, and I'm trying to avoid putting it up again, so what percentage of the gastric mucosa of Mr. O'Keefe would you estimate is taken up by the ulcers that you have identified?
I would say somewhere between 10 and 15%.
Just 10 and 15%. Thank you. Now, if we could look to the issue of continuing with hypothermia, let's go to frostbite. Do you note any evidence of frostbite on the decedent, Mr. O'Keefe?
No, I did not.
Do you know what the weather conditions were in Canton, New York on the early morning? I'm sorry, I keep saying Canton, New York. My apologies. Do you know the weather conditions in Canton, Massachusetts, starting at midnight on January 29, 2022, going through 6 a.m. on January 29, 2022?
It was very cold. There was a blizzard coming.
They called it a nor'easter, right?
Correct.
And when you say very cold, in addition to very cold, do you recall whether there were gusting winds?
I believe so.
And do you understand that when there's a very cold temperature in Fahrenheit and you add gusting winds, that is called, when you apply the two together, that's called wind chill, right?
Correct.
And with wind chill, doesn't the phenomenon of wind chill mean that the wind combined with the temperature brings the actual temperature down, and in addition to bringing it down temperature in a wind chill calculation, it also has a physical effect on the body, correct? Wind chill. Doesn't wind chill also cause greater effects than if there was no wind?
Correct.
So in medical terms, the wind synergizes with the temperature and exacerbates the effect on a human.
Correct.
And with a wind chill, isn't it correct that you would have a greater chance of frostbite than if there was no wind chill effect at all?
Yes.
So, you saw no signs of frostbite on Mr. O'Keefe, correct?
At the time of my examination and at the time of autopsy, no, I did not.
Did you see frostbite at any other time with regard to Mr. O'Keefe?
I only examined him at the time of autopsy.
So at the only time you examined him, which is at the time of autopsy, you had zero signs of frostbite, correct?
Correct.
Dr. Scordi-Bello, Now that you have gone through your, this part of your examination here today, would you like to amend in any way your opinions as to whether hypothermia was any cause of the death of Mr. O'Keefe?
No, I don't. I still believe that there were hypothermic signs.
Hypothermic signs, correct?
Yes.
I'd like to move to another topic area, please. You did not include in your autopsy in any fashion any discussion of whether Mr. O'Keefe's injuries were consistent with a motor vehicle accident, did you?
No, I did not.
In fact, there were no injuries consistent with a motor vehicle impact on Mr. O'Keefe, correct?
Sustained.
Did you evaluate it all in your autopsy whether Mr. O'Keefe had any injuries consistent with a motor vehicle accident? Objection.
I'll allow that.
Yes, I did examine his lower extremities. That is protocol in any case of suspected impact with a motor vehicle. So I did examine his legs, and I did not see any evidence of an impact site.
And can you elaborate to the jury what you mean by no evidence of an impact site? Objection.
I'm going to sustain that objection.
What do you mean in your answer, no evidence of impact injuries?
I'll allow that.
What I look for is some sort of bruise, either on the outside of the leg or bleeding on the inside after the skin is reflected in the soft tissues, or any fracture of the bones of the legs. I did not observe those things.
That was going to be my question. You did not observe any of those things, correct?
Correct.
I'd like to turn to, please, the face of the decedent in your analysis that you discussed on direct examination of that area of the decedent. You talked about ecchymosis, you recall that?
Yes.
In medical literature, there's a synonym for ecchymosis. It's sometimes referred to as raccoon eyes. Is that correct? Ecchymosis doesn't cause a laceration to an eyelid, does it?
No.
Ecchymosis does not cause a laceration to a nose, does it?
There was an abrasion on the nose, but no, the answer is no.
Correct. So ecchymosis doesn't cause a laceration to the nose. Correct?
Correct.
Did your report at all evaluate whether there was any significance of the laceration to the eyelid that you spoke about in your direct testimony?
What do you mean?
Other than just noting that there was a laceration to the eyelid, did your report at all evaluate the potential significance, if any, of that laceration to the eyelid?
I noted it and photographed it, and it was part of the totality of the blunt impact injuries that I noted on both the face and the head.
Do you believe that the laceration to the eyelid could be caused by a blunt impact injury?
A laceration, by definition, is a blunt impact injury.
Do you believe the eyelid laceration was caused by a blunt impact injury from falling backwards and hitting one's head?
Not from falling backwards and hitting one's head, but that area at some point came in contact with a blunt object or surface.
Okay, if I could follow up on that, please. So, you agree that if a person falls and hits the back of their head, that they cannot sustain an eyelid injury, is that correct?
Correct.
All right. And if somebody falls backward and hits their head, they can't sustain, from that impacted back of the head, a laceration to the nose, correct?
Correct.
So, if we could, Mr. Wolk, and with Your Honor's permission, publish which is already in evidence, which are depictions. Let's start out with, please, the laceration to the right eyelid. And Dr. Scordi-Bello, is this the laceration to the right eyelid that we've been talking about of Mr. O'Keefe?
Yes, it did. Yes, it is.
And that injury could not be caused by a fall backwards and one hitting their head, correct?
No.
I'm sorry, we'll just need, and then I'm going to repeat the question. Can you state your answer again? Let me that injury to the right eyelid, that laceration, could not be caused by someone falling backwards and hitting their head, correct?
Correct.
Bear with me one moment, Your Honor. May I approach, Your Honor?
Yes. Show Mr. Brennan.
Your Honor, I erroneously assumed that that picture was in evidence, and I would like to now properly lay the foundation if I could.
Okay.
Dr. Scordi-Bello, you see what's in front of you. Can we mark this?
So, Mr. Brennan, are you objecting to that coming into evidence? Okay, so let's just put it in evidence.
165.
Thank you.
May I, Your Honor?
Yes.
Thank you. Dr. Scordi-Bello, I place before you what is in evidence now is 165. And Your Honor, may I have Mr. Wolk publish
Yes.
165? Thank you, Mr. Wolk. So, Dr. Scordi-Bello, that laceration to the right eyelid could not be caused by a fall backwards where someone hits the back of the head, correct?
Correct.
So that injury, you've called, what do you label that category? Traumatic, did you use that phraseology?
Blunt impact.
Blunt impact. So that's a blunt, in your opinion, that's a blunt impact injury, correct?
Correct.
So is it correct that that injury had to occur in some manner other than falling backwards and hitting one's head?
Yes.
And is that injury consistent or inconsistent with a punch?
I'll allow it.
Could be consistent.
If we could, Mr. Wolk, have the laceration to the nose. I'm sorry, hold off on a moment. Your Honor, Mr. Brennan has agreed to stipulate that this going
Okay,
into
so
evidence.
like we can mark it.
166.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you. May I, Your Honor?
Yes.
Thank you. Dr. Scordi-Bello, I have put before you what is in evidence is 166, and Your Honor may, Mr. Wolf, publish.
Yes.
Thank you. Dr. Scordi-Bello, does that exhibit fairly and accurately depict the laceration to the nose of Mr. O'Keefe?
Yeah, it's an abrasion. I described it as an abrasion, as a scrape.
So you would classify that as a scrape?
Yes,
That scrape could not be caused by someone falling backwards and hitting the back of their head, could it?
not by a single event, no.
You can take that down, Mr. Wolf. On your direct testimony, you talked about injuries to the right arm of Mr. O'Keefe. Do you recall that?
Yes, I do.
And is it correct that you, in your autopsy report, did not determine the cause of those wounds to Mr. O'Keefe's right arm?
That's correct.
With Your Honor's permission, I would like to Mr. Brennan. Your Honor, Mr. Brennan has agreed to
Okay.
stipulate into evidence these two photographs. May I please have them
Yes.
marked as next in evidence?
Exhibits 167 and 168.
Thank you.
I'm going to do the same thing, if I may, Dr. Scordi-Bello. I'm going to leave these with you, but I'm also going to, with the court's permission, have them published.
Okay.
Use whatever one best allow you to answer the question. Your Honor, may I have Mr. Wolf publish those two? Thank you. With regard to what is on the screen, am I correct that you noted these injuries and these wounds to Mr. O'Keefe in your autopsy report?
Yes,
And am I correct that you noted that there was a pattern to those wounds?
correct.
And although you noted there was a pattern to the wounds, you were not able to determine the cause of those patterned wounds. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Are those injuries consistent with a dog bite?
Based on our answer to the last question, ask something else.
I'm sorry, couldn't hear you.
Ask another question, sustained.
Can you identify any cause of those injuries that would be consistent with what is depicted on the screen? Objection.
So, can you answer that, Doctor?
I cannot.
You can take that down, Mr. Wolf. Thank you. Do you recall discussing at all on your direct examination Well, let me ask it this way. Did you evaluate at all in your autopsy a gray hoodie sweatshirt of Mr. O'Keefe?
No, I did not.
So, were you aware that there was clothing associated with Mr. O'Keefe when he came as part of the autopsy?
He did not have any clothing that came to us. The clothing was removed at the hospital and was packaged and I believe submitted as evidence.
So the clothing of Mr. O'Keefe, a t-shirt or a hoodie, didn't make its way to you?
No?
You were unable to reach a determination as to the manner of death of Mr. O'Keefe, correct?
That is correct.
So you had doubts about the manner of death of Mr. O'Keefe, and you consider those doubts reasonable?
Sustained. Sustained.
You were not able to reach a determination as to the manner of death of Mr. O'Keefe, correct?
Correct.
And manner of death, as you've testified, includes the circumstances surrounding death in addition to the medical analysis that you performed. Okay.
I'm sustaining it, asked and answered.